friend.
Friends! Hello!
Welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us for our third episode of the Pitch and Bitch podcast. I'm Becca.
I'm Jayme.
Oh my god, how are you doing, Jimmy?
Oh, I'm doing good. I just watched a really horrific movie this morning.
Oh my god, fantastic.
Casual.
Love that. I watched one into the wee hours this morning. So,
balance.
Exactly. I love this for us.
A little night owl, a little morning gal.
That's us.
That is us.
Perfect team. All right. I am so excited today, guys. We are going to be talking about not one, but two movies today.
Yes.
Double feature. We are talking about the original 1977 and the remake 2006 of The Hills Have Eyes.
Spooky.
Dun, dun, dun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. So keeping up with our cannibal theme for this season. I hope you guys are ready. It's going to get real weird.
Chomp chomp.
Right off the bat, though, we're going to do a really quick trigger warning. This episode is going to contain a lot of discussion about sexual assault and a lot of sort of sexually themed violence. So if that is not something you are comfortable listening to, no worries. Totally get it. We appreciate you tuning in, at least for the first few seconds here, and we will see you next time instead.
Yeah.
So take care of yourselves, friends. Don't listen to something that's going to hurt you. So, Jayme, what did you think? Did you like these movies?
Okay, so I gotta be honest with you, I think I was like 12 or 13 years old when the first ones came out, and I was genuinely scared to even watch them because I have heard so many things and they looked really gross. Mm-hmm. And I was not down for the grossness just yet. Mm-hmm. But rewatching them back when I was in your, I have to watch it all era, and watching originals and remakes because there was just so many originals and remakes to have fun with around the time, too. Mm-hmm. I did make a point to go out to my local video store. That's when they had VHSs to watch original print media.
Hell yeah.
So if
bring back the video store.
If there's any of you out there,
can anyone hear us?
Thank you for being there. I don't know if that place is open. Entertainment Tonight, Strathroy. Thank you for having VHS copies, but
nice.
That was a time period that I was doing when I was in my teens because you have to.
Oh yeah.
You're trying to experience what kids in the 80s got to do when they just played on TV.
I mean, I am a little bit older than you, so I remember renting VHSs just because that was the only option.
Yes.
Hollywood Video in Murrayville. What up, guys?
Shout-outs.
Shout-outs. That business definitely no longer exists.
Yeah.
But, print media, physical media, big fan. Big fan. Because, what do you do when your favorite movie's taken off streaming? What do you do?
Well, I just don't know what to do with my hands. What am I supposed to, how do I hold these things?
Right? I need something tangible.
Yes.
I'm kind of similar to you in that I had seen the original, I think when I was probably 17, 18. I think I actually watched a couple scenes as part of a film course or something like that. I don't honestly remember. But I also avoided the remake for a long time because it came out, I would have been 16. And I am a late bloomer horror fan. I didn't really get into horror until I was in sort of my late teens, early 20s. And so 2006, it was peak bro horror, torture porn. And like you said, this movie very much had a reputation in that way. So I avoided it for a really long time. So this was actually a first time watch for me for the remake. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. And it was not nearly as bad as everybody painted it to be. So don't get me wrong. There's some fucked up stuff in there, but it was not nearly as messed up as I was expecting. And maybe that just says something about me. I don't know.
Call me crazy, but I definitely feel like this was a valid remake.
Absolutely. Yeah, straight up.
The original had a lot of punch, and this one definitely had a bigger bowl for that punch.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Sure did. That's a great way to put it.
It made me nostalgic for the torture porn era, which is horrible to say, but it was just a time when they were just really going for it. And then when the credits are playing for the new one and you see who the special effects are, who's in charge of it, you're well, okay, well, this is just gonna be art.
My guys, K&B. We love K&B effects. They are the masters. And actually, Greg Nicotero, so the N from K&B, plays Cyst, one of the mutants in the remake.
Beautiful name.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, horror icon Greg Nicotero. We love to see it. When I was in makeup school, it was actually my dream to work for them, but unfortunately, I am not skilled enough for that. They are real artists, and that's not me getting down on myself for anybody who's listening, but they are on a crazy other level, like, holy crap. Okay, so shall we get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Also, I'm pretty sure if you watch Nightmare Factory, where you learn about the K&B studios as well, and like where they come from and what they did, have fun. Watch that one. Give yourself a chance.
Yeah, that's a great documentary.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. And for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, if you've ever seen a single episode of The Walking Dead, you do actually know what we're talking about, because that was written and created by Robert Kirkman, the K from K&B, and the makeup was mostly designed and I believe at least initially applied by Greg Nicotero.
And it is a small world after all, especially when it
Yes.
comes to special effects makeup.
It really is. It's a much smaller world than people realize.
Yes.
And also, that's not to leave out Howard Berger, the B from K&B Effects. He was also working on most of these projects. They work on basically everything Quentin Tarantino does. Like, they are the big deal, or at least one of them in the world.
Even fantasy stuff, too.
Oh, yeah. They work on, like, they're one of those groups where you Google them and you're like, oh, wow, I've seen almost everything on this list.
Yes.
Like, yeah, they are incredible.
So sorry, but yeah, now
No.
Now let's crack into it.
Oh, I'm never gonna complain about just like going off about effects makeup, so that's fine with me. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start out today with the original, and then we're gonna move into the remake, do a little sort of compare and contrast here.
Yes.
So, our synopsis. On a road trip to California, the Carter family take a detour to visit an abandoned silver mine which once belonged to their family. Despite the ominous warnings of Fred, the owner of a lone service station on the outskirts of the desert, Big Bob Carter decides to continue on to the mine. The family soon get lost on backcountry roads and crash their car on what appear to be road spikes that had been placed there intentionally. Crashing their car, stranding them in the desert and a nuclear testing and Air Force bombing site. When Bob, Doug, and Bobby try to find help, the family realize they are trapped and not alone. They are attacked and killed one by Fred's estranged, monstrous son Jupiter and his family, who survive by cannibalizing travelers and stealing supplies. Who will survive?
Oh.
Dun dun dun!
These movies are a ride.
Right? I mean, this movie, especially the original, I feel like is that really perfect example of a 1970s horror where you just have a very simple premise, very simple characters, and we're just going to kind of roll the dice and see what happens. Like, the story, I do think is really interesting, especially when you start to peel back some of the layers into it, because it is very simple. It's literally just this family gets lost and gets picked off by a bunch of mutants at the end of the day. Like, very, very simple.
And we've all been on road trips.
Yes, we have all been on family trips where people are grouchy and it's too hot and it's been too long and nobody really wants to be there anymore. Like, we've all been there.
Yes.
Very relatable.
Yes.
And, like, for example, when I was small, my family took a road trip to Drumheller here in Canada, which is in Alberta, which is actually the desert, for those who don't know Canada very well. And parts of this hit kind of close to home, I'm not going to lie. Like, driving through the desert with your family, maybe you're getting a little bit lost. Everybody just wants to get out of the car.
Did I just see that plant? Oof. That has to be the same plant.
Exactly. That has to be the same sagebrush we passed like two hours ago.
Yes.
Nope. The desert just looks like that.
Oh, that's so true.
Right? But what I think is really interesting is when you sort of look at this movie on a deeper level, Wes Craven has talked a lot about how it's a big, big metaphor for American society and the sort of classism that goes along with that. And he talks about the bourgeois and their dislike for various classes and things a lot. And I do think that is so interesting that he was willing to do this at that time. Because in the 70s, I feel like, obviously, the American dream that was around in the 50s and 60s was, like, on the way out, if not fully dead at that point. Thank you, Manson. But that was I don't know, people were still kind of holding up that ideal. They were still trying to sort of force that family dynamic. And I feel like you really see that through the parents, through Bob and Ethel in this movie. You know, Ethel's constantly telling the girls to watch your mouth and let's all pray before we go. And
Okay, so
like,
the original one was hilariously great because the exposition dumps of just we've been together for 25 years. It's a silver anniversary. We're having our silver.
our family used to own the silver mine, and Bob used to be a police officer, but now he has to retire because of his heart.
Exactly. And I know it doesn't actually sound like that, but I just wanted to refresh myself on the remake, so I did watch it at 2-point speed on YouTube.
Love that for you.
So it went by really quick.
I love that.
The running.
Yeah. Just, whoo, you're there.
Yes. Yes. But especially the imagery, like the one fight scene, like it's just in the new one, it's so good because when you find the dad with the American flag, plot twist.
Right? I had also
dead.
made a note about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, plot twist. Big Bob's not with us for long.
Yes. In the head, set up in the nuclear home. Like it was, that's what made the new one so fun. It's like you were trying to
Exactly.
expand with that because new budget, new kind of lens and all these things. Because Wes Craven did produce, which is good.
Yes.
Because I like it when you want to work together.
Absolutely.
Again, appropriate time between original and remake.
Absolutely. Give it 30 years, guys. We don't need them within 5 years. Yeah, I liked the fact that in the new one, like you were saying, they basically take the same metaphors that the original was working with and just ramp them up to 100. Like, I am so here for that. But what got me, and the expression that I feel like I always use, was the opening scenes where it is like Bob and Ethel and the kids, like right after they've crashed the car. Bob is handing out firearms to the men. And I don't remember what they say in the original, but in the remake, he literally says, "Praise God and pass the ammunition," which is the most violently American sentiment ever.
Oh.
Like, that, as I say, I feel like I use the expression all the time, but it is violently American. And, like, yeah, the idea that it really is that cliche, they're trying to create that nuclear family, that super hyper-American ideal where, like, we're going to take the family in the little silver bullet trailer across the country with our guns and our prayers, and we're going to do it. And it's like, guys, I know your country is based on manifest destiny, but, like, this really doesn't work out well for the people who decide to do that most of the time.
No,
like,
no, 100%.
You ever heard of the Donner Party? Like, this is not a good idea.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And, like, again, justified remake just because you were able to have such better makeup. I did think watching the original one, it was slightly comical to see how the people were made because they looked like...
Well, it's obvious makeup is what it is. And it's not even necessarily the fault of the makeup artist. It's just when you have such a little budget, and especially back in the 70s, the materials weren't the same. So, for example, if you're someone, I'm going to go on a little bit of a makeup rant here. If you're somebody like Dick Smith, who's a legendary makeup artist, he worked on The Godfather, The Exorcist, like every big movie ever. He actually invented foam latex prosthetics as we know them today. He's a very big deal. Back in the day, if you weren't someone like Dick Smith, who is on this, you know, sort of legendary level of skill, your makeup is probably going to look like what The Hills Have Eyes look like, just because of the materials that you're working with. It's literally not even that you're, you know, not a great makeup artist. It's literally just that your prosthetic has a seam that's like 3 inches thick, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it at that point.
No. You know, I think the gore in the original actually was pretty effective with how much they showed and with how much they didn't show at the same time because, like, the implication was really, really, really well implied.
Yes, that's actually one thing I love about Wes Craven is he doesn't underestimate the intelligence of his audience. He knows that all he has to show you is a few frames and you will understand exactly what's happening.
Yes.
Which is what I love about him. But at the same time, he's not afraid to go for it when the time comes. Which, like, I find a lot of directors kind of fall on one or the other end of that spectrum. So I love that he's sort of smack dab in the middle.
Yes, 100%.
Right? And I think that's part of what made him so iconic as a director.
How do you feel about Alexandre Aja?
Alexandre Aja.
Because I do like him.
I do.
I do.
High Tension, I remember watching when I was probably, like, 20. And it did kind of blow my mind at the time. On a rewatch, I don't love the twist quite as much.
Okay.
But I do still think it's a great movie.
That one is, like, I haven't had a chance to see it, but I've heard people discuss it.
Yeah.
But it is...
I think you would like it.
Right, and I'm not sure if it's just hasn't come across my way. Like, I forget why. There's just, I haven't seen it on a lot of platforms, and I know it's a foreign...
It's French.
Yes. And it's kind of funny how he has... I see in his IMDb page that he's in production to do Crawl 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love that.
Me
Nice.
too, for some reason.
Honestly,
like, it's so
I'm here
good.
for that. Why not? Have some fun. Make a B movie. Have some fun.
Piranha 3D.
I saw that. I was like, oh, bro. At least it wasn't 3 double D. Could have been worse.
Hey, you know what? Love them both. I'm awful. I genuinely do. Piranha 3D was our hangover movie in high school, so we would put that one on.
I love that.
But it was crazy how they did a lot of the effects for it, and definitely another one that's for a valid remake, because it's not a... Like, Piranha is definitely, it's just a popcorn movie for sure.
Oh, for sure.
And, you get to see Eli Roth get his head smashed.
And, I mean, that's kind of fun, I'm not gonna lie.
It was just such a good effect.
I also kind of have beef with Eli Roth, but less than David Gordon Green, so it's fine. I'm a Virgo, man. I got beef with people.
You do. It's funny.
And it's okay. You're my popcorn B-movie queen.
I know, I'm awful, because I'm I have no problems with Eli Roth.
No.
He's good too.
No, honestly, I like a lot of Eli Roth's movies. I just think he's a way better producer than he is director. Mm-hmm. That's my thing. Most of the stuff he directs, I'm I don't really care. Hostel is not my thing. Cabin Fever was okay. I don't love those movies, but as a producer, I do actually think he has a real eye for talent. So I don't have as much beef with him as I do David Gordon Green.
See, then that way I can admire when people do a balance of both.
Yes.
Especially with Ari Aster, some of the stuff that he's been producing as well has been quite good.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, I really liked Dream Scenario. That was kind of a hidden...
Nicolas Cage?
Yeah. It was good. It was good.
I didn't see it. I heard it was really good, but I didn't see it.
It was balanced.
I'm very picky with Nicolas Cage. There's only some Nicolas Cage movies that I enjoy. Otherwise,
he has to be directed properly.
Yes, otherwise he kind of drives me up the wall, so it very much depends.
Yeah, I feel like he is definitely a testament to how good a director is if you can get a good Nick Cage performance. Because saying he's not a good actor is not true, because we've seen the capabilities.
Exactly.
It's possible.
It's there.
Yeah.
It's there. Yeah. We've seen it. You just have to be able to bring it out. Yeah. So... Because for a long time, I was a Nicolas Cage hater, I can admit. For many years, I was. And then I saw a couple movies, and I was like, God damn it, everybody's right. He is actually really good.
We all have debts to pay. We all bought mansions that were cursed. We all bought plots.
Right? He's also just so weird as a person that I'm kind of obsessed.
Yeah.
My favorite quote is someone asked if he was a goth because he had a pet raven, and his reply was, I am goth. The concept, not identifying as goth. Which, okay.
See, that's quirky. That's fun.
Right?
He's just a manic pixie dream girl living in his own world.
He really is.
Yeah.
And in that way, I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting back to this movie. Yeah, for this movie, I agree. I think the gore is really well used because, it is arguably fairly minimal, especially considering the reputation that this movie has. And I'm sure, obviously, if you saw this as an audience member in 1977, it would have been a lot more shocking than we would consider it today. Absolutely. But, yeah, that was... I feel like a good way to put it is something I kind of struggled with this movie, which I don't always with older movies, is the sheer 1977 of it all. In that, for example, Brenda literally just screams for this entire movie. That's basically all she does, is she screams and screams and screams and screams and then kills someone at the end. And, admittedly, Brenda has an absolutely horrific, traumatic time in this movie. She does not have it easy. But I feel like most people wouldn't just mindlessly scream. They would even be like, oh my god, it's them! Or something. And she's just screaming the whole time.
It is pretty... It is.
Right?
Her scream queen.
Exactly. And, love that for you. But I feel like there's a reason why Dee Wallace became kind of, the standout star in this, despite the fact that she has far less screen time. And it's because, I think I'm sorry, Brenda, she is actually a slightly better actress. And also, she has more to do, is partially what it is. Her character has more to her than Brenda.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like you said, it has, the 1977 of it all where they have, she is supposed to be your girl next door, your cutie patootie. Mm-hmm. She was, wear your hot pants.
Yep, little blondie. That's funny that you say that actually, because that actress, when I was researching our fun facts, I found out that actress actually auditioned and was cast in the Suzanne Summers part on Three's Company, and wound up getting fired, and then they hired Suzanne Summers.
Oh, that's pretty
So
funny.
that's funny that you say that, because that's
Yeah.
very accurate. And she was known for her hot pants.
And then I thought it was kind of funny how, like, they try, like, she's just tanning in her bra in the desert while
Right.
she's wearing capri pants. What a time.
Oh my god,
What
in
a
the
time.
remake's so funny when she just like takes her shirt off to tan. I'm like,
Yeah.
I get the impulse, but like, yeah, you're wearing capris, girl. And also you're in the desert. You're not gonna tan, you're gonna get crisp.
To be fair, I am happy that it is just implied nudity, especially
Yes.
with the role that she
Yes,
is
especially for
doing
the
and
part
what's
of
gonna
Brenda.
happen
Yeah,
later. Like,
absolutely.
yeah, 100%. Like, it's okay.
Exactly. I'm okay with that. But also, it was kind of funny to
Yeah.
see her like in her bra and capris. like, okay.
Oh
Like,
man,
that
this
was kinda
movie
funny.
just like it unexpectedly hits hard, even
Mhm.
though they're like it's unintentionally like there's some parts to it that seem that aren't really like funny necessarily, but it is like
I would argue
like,
there is a vein of
yeah.
humor going through both of them. It's very
Yeah.
dark, but
Yes.
it's there. Like, just some of the sort of like antics that you see the mutants getting up to, and like the way that they interact and stuff, there are absolutely jokes in there.
And the one guy kind of looks like the Goonies guys, and then you're kind of thinking about the Goonies.
Michael Berryman. Okay, let's take a second to talk about Michael Berryman, because he's a really interesting guy. He was actually born, he has a whole whack of different medical issues, whatever you want to call them, basically. But he was born with hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia. I hope you're impressed that I can say that. Which actually means he was born without hair, fingernails, or sweat glands.
Crazy.
Meaning when they were shooting this in the desert and like temperatures would go up to like almost 50 degrees Celsius. It was like 48. And yes, I'm using Celsius because we're Canadian. Y'all can Google Fahrenheit. That shit makes no sense. He had to have all kinds of special precautions taken so that he wouldn't overheat, because his body cannot naturally cool itself down. And the reason why he looks the way he does is it's actually partially a side effect of said disorder, HED, because I'm not going to say that again, where he actually, as a baby, developed craniosynostosis, which is a premature fusing of your skull bones as a baby. So normally, obviously, baby skulls are soft. It takes a while. They form, they fuse, you become an adult. His started fusing in random spots too early. So he actually wound up having to have cranial reconstruction surgery as a small child, but that was sort of the shape that his head wound up being. And it is apparently I believe, a side effect of the disorder that he has. But fun fact about him, before he became an actor, he studied botany and zoology, and he was working as a florist.
Oh, how kind.
Right?
How kind.
He's apparently a very sweet soul, despite everything that he portrays on screen.
He still, I was looking at his IMDb as well, and he is still acting to this day, doing really cool, like, B-movie parts.
Yep.
I would definitely say that the remake made his quote-unquote character more Goonies-like, for sure.
Much more,
so,
yes.
because there was, like, kind of that prosthetic-ness to it. Like, it's, yeah.
Yeah, they definitely sort of took
because, like you said, the 1977 of it all, like, you don't have the budget, you know, you can hire somebody. There's somebody.
Oh, yeah, like, instead of trying to put somebody in, like, a huge effects makeup, they just tried to hire someone who looked right for the part. And honestly, as much as I love effects makeup, I'm also so down for that. Like, give various people of various descriptions job opportunities, whatever it may be. Like, let's go. Let's do it.
Oh, and, like, not even that. Like, if you want to be an actor, go act. They need everybody.
They need literally everyone. Go act. They need
everybody.
No matter what you look like, no matter what you sound like. Yeah. Go.
They need you.
They need you. For a modern day example, look at Ralph Ineson. He plays the dad in The Witch. That voice, it sounds like he is gargling gravel. But you know what? He's made it his thing, and now he's a famous actor, so you can too.
Yeah. Thank you for being a part of our positive corner. Thank you.
We're here to encourage you, friends.
Exactly.
And actually, one last thing about Michael Berryman. One thing I always found really interesting about him is, for all of my fellow 90s goth folks, he was actually in the original script and cut of The Crow with Brandon Lee. He played, I believe he's known as the skeleton man or the cemetery man. I don't remember the name of his character, but he was actually meant to be someone who guided Brandon Lee's character from the underworld back to the land of the living, and like provided a lot of exposition, and actually was a pretty important role in the movie. But once Brandon Lee passed and they couldn't finish everything, his scenes actually wound up being entirely cut because they couldn't finish his storyline without Brandon Lee. And so there's a few really great documentaries, like I believe actually Eli Roth's History of Horror is one of them, where he talks about that movie and making that movie and how much he actually really loved it. And he and Brandon Lee actually got quite close before he passed, which is really sad. And I would have loved to see what that movie would have looked like if they had been able to finish it the way they wanted to.
It's on the list.
Exactly. And also, we don't talk about the remake of that one. Boo. Like,
oh, no.
No, I never watched it. And
Unjustified remake.
And I'm never gonna. In all honesty, I'm never gonna. Like, I'm sorry, guys. I like, Bill Skarsgård. I like FKA Twigs. Never gonna happen. I'm never watching that. I can't. I love Brandon Lee too much. I just can't.
Good for them.
I guess. I don't think it was good for them career-wise, but, like, I guess.
I kind of forgot.
Yeah, right? Everybody kind of forgot that it existed, and I think that might not be an entirely bad thing.
No.
Okay, so, again, getting back to this movie. So, over the course of this movie, we have various family members being picked off by the mutants, starting with Big Bob. So we've got Big Bob, patriarch of this family, who, honestly, in the original, I feel like his death scene hits a lot harder than in the new one. That was one of my only complaints about the new one. And it's, again, no issue with the actor. There's something about CGI flames where either they look right or they look so wrong.
Okay.
And for me, they looked so wrong. And it fully took me out of it for a couple minutes. That was my complaint. Like, it's nothing to do, as they say, with, like, the actor or anything like that.
Well,
but, like,
I also like the fact that they set up more of a heart condition for him, too.
Yes.
So it's like, Big Bob, don't go out there. You have a heart condition.
Right?
He's
have
like,
a heart
no.
condition. And he's like, I'm a cop.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it anyway.
We both raised our finger guns in the air.
We did.
In a non-violent way, just to show our patriotism for Big Bob.
Or something. Yeah, because Big Bob, that's what Big Bob would have wanted. He would have
Shoutouts.
wanted us to have actual guns, but we are Canadians, so we have finger guns.
Yeah. Safe.
Woohoo! Gun control. Yeah. Yeah, so for me, in the original, Big Bob's death hits a lot harder, which I actually really liked in terms of the metaphor, because, like, yeah, of course, the first thing you're going to do for that nuclear family is eliminate that patriarch.
Oh, I do have to say, the lighting in the original is surprisingly so good, because usually they're so dark. I'm not sure. I was watching mine on YouTube, so even the copy or the transfer, like, you were able to make out stuff, which is like, thank goodness, because sometimes there is movies from that era where it's just unfortunately, it's just a little too underexposed. So you can't really see what's going on.
It's a little later, but I feel like the original of The Hitcher is kind of like that, because a lot of it takes place at night.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
And you're like, okay.
Maybe if I squint.
Exactly. I'll figure it out.
Modern movies do it too, but...
that fucking... Was it the Game of Thrones spinoff? House of the Dragon? That one episode that was so dark that HBO literally got complaints. And they were like, no, it's supposed to be like that. I'm
not gonna lie. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Yes. I remember camera people. You guys are great, but I love how... Like, if you're a pure gearhead and you, like, love particular gear and you're like, we gotta try it because it can pick up this amount of light. I'm like, well, you know what? I live in a city. I have a bunch of light coming in. I can't do it on my TV at home.
Right? And, like, I don't have the nicest, biggest TV in the world like you probably do.
Exactly.
You're, fancy cinematographer. Like, I don't have that. I have a TV, but I don't have that.
It's like
One day. Right?
Maybe a sound bar. Maybe a backup bar.
Actually, I don't remember what they're called, but for me, I saw this thing, I think it was on Instagram, and it was this lighting setup that this person had for their, like, movie area, home theater, I guess you would call it. Yeah. And they didn't have, like, a huge TV or anything, and I don't know how they had set it up, but basically the lights had all different colors and stuff, but it went along with the scenes of what they were watching.
Oh, cool.
So they were watching one of the Harry Potter movies, one of the last ones, I don't remember if it was the first one or second one. And, you know, you've got somebody waving their arm around in a circle as they're casting this like magical spell of green light, and the lights mimic the circle around the TV and like follow the motion pattern. And I was like, oh, that is home theater goals.
Yes.
Interactive lighting to go along with my movie. Hell yeah.
Mood.
That's the dream.
Next thing they're going to do is like, okay, so here's the scent.
They tried to do that in the 50s, actually. Smell-O-Vision.
They did.
They tried to make that happen, and it was not super popular. It's kind of like how they try to make 3D movies a thing every sort of, like, decade. They'll try again, and it never really takes off.
No.
And, like...
We have been personally victimized by a 4DX theater.
Oh, my God. Yes, we have. That was crazy.
The Wolfman, the car crash scene... There was just 4 of us in the theater.
We almost got knocked out of our seats. It was a good thing we didn't have popcorn.
I ate it all.
Well, I just
Thank
mean, like,
goodness. I'm sorry, I just called myself out.
I mean,
like
I did too. Absolutely. Like, if you are the kind of person who still has more than half of their popcorn by the time the movie starts, through all the commercials and previews and anything, I don't know if we can be friends.
Yeah.
Like,
my goodness. Like, I'm so happy that there is so much to pick what is best from both the remake and the original. I don't usually feel like that is something that you can come across very often.
They're both really strong. That's true.
And I'm like, because I'm trying to think of some of the worst things, and I can't really think of anything too bad.
I don't know. Yeah, like the worst things for me, I guess we can get into that, is just the things that I've sort of already mentioned, where like the characters in the original are pretty one-dimensional, and that's intentional. Like, that's not a fault of writing, but it's just not really something that appeals to me a lot of the time. And the only other note that I made, because again, very 70s, was Big Mama and Mercury, the mutant who the dog beast tackles off the cliff.
Yeah.
Which is actually the producer, Peter Locke. Fun fact. Both of them, when you look at their costuming, I feel like that's very much a white person who has drawn from various other cultures, including indigenous folks, to make their villains, which is a very 70s choice, not one that I would advise.
Yes, the costume department, when the one had the, like...
Because Mercury has, like, a full-on headdress that you could argue is very heavily inspired by a lot of indigenous tradition. If you just look at it, you're like, ooh, that
bone necklaces.
Yeah, like, it's real 70s. It's a lot. I don't think it's directly as offensive as, like, it kind of sounds from how we're describing it. It's one of those things that you just kind of pick up on. But it's a lot when you notice it.
In this era too. Oh, there was definitely some phrasing that we wouldn't use these days.
No,
100%.
Yeah, there's some slurs and some things in there that we would not be including in the original.
We'll have to call it the 1977 of it all.
Exactly, the 1977.
Unfortunately, I hate it, but it is like
that's what it is. Yep, that was considered acceptable at that point, so that's what that was. But at least by some people.
Exactly. And when Texas Chainsaw Massacre already exists, then you can make your own version.
Well, I'll pepper in a fun fact here.
Pepper.
This was actually Wes Craven's homage to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and they shared the same production designer who actually reused some of the props from Texas Chainsaw in the Mutant's Cave. So there's a very good reason why it's so reminiscent of that. That's very, very much intentional.
Reuse, recycle, everybody.
Right? Reduce, reuse, recycle.
Yeah.
Rihanna, yes! So for me, the only other thing that really kind of stuck out to me in a sort of not great way was in the original, when before Big Bob dies, he makes his way back to the service station to try and get help, and unfortunately that's where he meets his end. But upon his arrival, he starts to suss out what's happened by looking around the service station where Fred lives, and he sees, the belongings of some of these people who have disappeared and things like that. Fred takes a shot at him. They wind up kind of going back and forth. And then Fred tries to hang himself within like 30 seconds. Like, literally, he pops off a shot at Big Bob. Bob fires back through a door, and we hear him try to hang himself in the next room. And all I can think is, like, if you wanted to commit suicide, which clearly you do, why not keep shooting at Big Bob? Why did you decide to, like, hop up and do this whole thing, which Big Bob stops him? And obviously, like, that's not a thing. And that's where we get our exposition of who the mutants are. But, like, that just felt kind of out of place to me. Like, in the remake, we have Big Bob and Fred successfully commits suicide by shooting himself in the head. And in that scenario, either he's going to shoot himself or Bob is going to shoot him. That much is very clear. And it just felt like that made a lot more sense. Like, the idea of, like, I'm going to get in a mini shootout and then I'm going to use my belt to hang myself. Like, what?
It was
Fred?
definitely...
What?
Yeah, that part was, like...
It was a little weird.
Well, it was weird, and, like, that's why I was kind of referring to it being, like, funny, even though it's not funny.
Exactly.
It's just, like, this fucking guy.
You're like, Fred, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening here? Yeah. So that was something that kind of stuck out to me. It's just like, this is weird.
It is weird. It was weird. Yeah, like, some things, like, there was definitely some, like, plot holes, but I was like,
it's fine. You're just along for the ride at the end of the day. And Fred is just there to provide exposition. So, like, it's fine.
Yes.
But when you're watching it, you're kind of like, huh, that's a weird choice. Although the thing that made me laugh the most in that movie, and I don't know if it was intentionally funny, but I found it very funny, was at the very beginning when basically we sort of realize that something bad is going on back at the trailer, and we get a shot of each character for just a moment where it's sort of that look of horror and, like, realization that maybe something is afoot. Yeah. Except we also get a shot of the baby, and it's scored so ominously. So it's like, ominous mom, ominous dad, yes. Ominous baby.
Yes, that part actually was pretty funny.
I laughed so hard. I was like, why is the baby getting an ominous shot?
Okay, in the remake, I absolutely loved the part where he barricades the bathtub and then he just pops out of the other wall.
I knew that was gonna happen to him.
It was such a good surprise.
Straight through, bro. Yeah. Like, he doesn't care. That was very funny.
Doesn't care about your tub. That was the other, and, like, on top of that, that was great because the first one obviously is very intense and they keep the intensity going.
Yes.
And it was fun because it's just, like, you have a bigger and modern budget, so you were able to keep, like, this cool maze of all these random radio houses.
Yes.
These radio shacks.
Radio shacks.
And then, but him waking up in the tub with all the limbs and stuff like that.
Oh, that was crazy. That was a great scene.
He was given about the same effort I would to get the fuck out of there.
That hit. Absolutely. I was like, I would also panic and do that and be kicking and shoving and screaming and doing my best to get out there. And yes, I would immediately vomit the second my head got out of that thing. Like, that is so correct.
And to touch on our theme of cannibalism, I do like the fact there was just some chopping sounds. They didn't care.
Nope.
The line that got me was, "You don't like dog anymore?" I was like,
right?
She's like, no.
She's like, God. I think I said that in the original, too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's Big Mama. She sits across from Ruby and is like, what, you don't like dog no more? And she's like, I do. I like it.
With her, her little Bam Bam hair.
I was going to say her huge her teased hair that looks like Bam Bam's hair.
It was so strange. So strange. That's why I was so happy that they got such a makeover and uplift with the remake. Obviously, they had to, but they were just better. It was just better. Yes. They were creepier.
They were great in the remake, yeah. Especially Ruby. I like that they made her, like, a lot younger.
Yes.
And things like that. Like, I feel like the idea of Ruby as a child kind of made a little more sense.
And it was good that they stole the sweater, too.
Yes, exactly. Give you that little bit of a through line.
Well, Red Riding Hood.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Big vibes.
Yeah.
What else? One of my favorite parts of the original, actually, just from, like, a technical perspective, were at the very end, the POV shots of Doug killing Mercury. When you see Doug and I think he's got, like, a rock and he's just, like, beating Mercury's head in, but you see it from Mercury's perspective. So you see Doug just, like, getting bloodier and bloodier and bloodier as this is happening. And I remember watching it and being like, damn, for 1977, like, they went for it. This is a great shot. Holy crap. And, like, that actor, what's his name? Martin Spear. He is so good in that sequence because you see it's just like that animalistic rage has taken over. Like, he's not himself at that point, which was really, really good and very scary.
You know, it's kind of funny for movies like this because it's like I'm trying to like I know Wes Craven had like a particular theme, but it's also just kind of like a ride. Like it's really hard to like
100%. Yeah.
kind of pick up anything too crazy just besides like the nuclear family. Like there's some very obvious like motifs,
Yeah.
like very, very obvious, but it's quite a funny one where it's just yeah, just the American family coming
Right?
together.
And then the worst timeline version of the American family
Yeah.
also coming together.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was I saying? The other note that I made about this one for things that I loved is that their dog Beast is the best boy.
Yes,
He's the best boy.
Yeah.
He's out here killing mutants. He's defending them. Like, Beast accomplishes more than a lot of the human characters in this movie. So, like, 10 out of 10.
Which is
He's
pretty
the best
funny.
boy.
I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, so funny.
I'm glad they did that too.
Yes. Okay, so I feel like we've been kind of flying a little fast and loose with the plot here. So to sum up briefly, Big Bob is taken by the mutants. Basically, we don't see what happens to him. We see him start to collapse on the road due to that heart condition, which is one thing I felt like they kind of left out in the remake. I would have appreciated a little bit more of that emphasis because they sort of vaguely mention it, but it's not really a factor in the new one. But we see that despite Big Bob's best efforts, his heart is getting to him and he is taken by the mutants. And so we go back to our family at the trailer. And unfortunately, this is where Big Bob meets his end. A couple of mutants have broken into the trailer, and one of them is holding Brenda hostage as Bob is effectively crucified and immolated, so set on fire by these mutants. And honestly, in the original, that effect looks amazing. It's obviously not a real actor, but it looks great.
Real fire.
For the time. Real fire.
Real fire.
Getting there. Real fire.
Yep.
And what kind of got me in that sequence is Ethel in the original, the mother. She starts to hysterically laugh when she realizes what's happened, because at first she's in denial and she's like, that's not my Bob. Like, no, that can't be happening. And she just starts like hysterically laughing for the rest of the scene. And it's a case of like, I see what you were going for as an actor, but you've been laughing so long now that this is kind of coming off as you think it's funny. Because she literally laughs for so long. It's not even like that moment, when somebody turns and they go from like sobbing or crying to laughing. She's just straight up giggling for like half the scene.
It is pretty stark. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, like it sticks out. It was a weird choice. So when we get back to the trailer, this is what I would argue is probably the scene with the biggest reputation.
Yeah.
Is the way that I would put it, because we have Brenda and the baby remaining in the trailer. While Brenda is being assaulted by one of the mutants in the back of the trailer, which we don't actually really see in the original, which is what we were talking about with Wes Craven being able to just communicate that really, really well. This was the only scene that actually got to me in this movie, and it's not to do with Brenda, actually. It's the other mutant who's in the kitchen. I believe it's Mars. And he's, rooting through their fridge, he's eating all their food, he's taking their stuff. And he reaches over to the bird cage that we've seen and rips the head off a finch and drinks its blood. And for some reason, that got me. I was like, ugh, oh God, oh my God. Like, because the actor goes for it. Like, he's not afraid of it. He's fully, he sort of stops one level below gargling his blood. Like, he's really into it. And yeah, it just got to me, that scene. I was like, ooh.
It's
God.
Well, and like especially because they flip back to the baby and they flip back to that, so it's like that guy will just rip that baby's head off and just lug a lug.
Yeah.
And then also a part of me, like when you're talking about it, I'm like, yeah, like the one part in Dumb and Dumber.
Oh my God.
Pretty birdie. My birds' heads are falling off.
The duct tape. Oh my God.
Horrible. I'm sorry.
No, that's amazing. Okay. Cinematic parallels, guy.
Yeah. See, there's always comedy and horror and comedy.
Exactly, two sides of the same coin.
Exactly.
So we get Pluto, aka Michael Berryman, is in the back of the trailer. It's heavily implied that he is assaulting and possibly raping Brenda, at which point he is physically removed by his brother Mars, who then proceeds to rape Brenda. And they steal the baby, killing Dee Wallace, aka Lynn, and Ethel in the process. And they escape with the baby and warn Brenda that they will be back for her later. And one other little cute fun fact, BTS for this sequence, apparently when it came time to shoot the scene where Michael Berryman is assaulting Brenda, who the actress's name I don't recall off the top of my head, the entire crew was feeling very uncomfortable. It was very tense because obviously, like, that's not a fun scene to shoot. Like, that's, even for any actor, like, that's not a good time. And so apparently on the very first take, when Wes Craven yelled action, they just immediately started making out to break the tension and everybody started laughing. So, like, she wasn't resisting him at all. They basically started, like, rolling around on the bed and just, like, joking like they were doing the world's worst love scene.
Oh, that's so funny.
Which, like, that's fun.
Yeah.
And, like, I think that's a good way to approach dealing with that kind of material
Yes.
as well. Which, like, especially in the 70s, I feel like there are a lot of directors who did not handle that well
now
all.
we have the intimacy coordinator now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And anybody who thinks those are bullshit, I don't trust you is all I'm gonna say. If you're a producer or something and you think they're bullshit, like, nope, I don't really trust you very much. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that right now.
Yeah. I'm down to actor's choice. Like, if it's up to you.
Oh, yeah. Like, if your
Like,
actors are
yeah.
comfortable, that's fine.
Yeah.
But, like, if as a producer you're like, nah, that's bullshit, we don't need one, and you don't consult your actors, like, bro, no.
The 1977s of it all.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Things were different.
Things were different.
And that scene is so intense.
It is.
I am in my work cafeteria watching this on YouTube, 2-point speed, and I'm like, oh my God.
Right,
What is
like,
happening right now?
And also, I hope nobody creeps over my shoulder. It's
Yeah,
just my
please
phone.
don't look. This is bad.
This is so bad.
And, like, I was impressed because even in that form, the intensity is still there. And
Yes.
then, obviously, it's just taken up to another modern notch with the remake. So it just continues. And then, like, you feel panic and you feel stress. And it's like, well, you guys are doing a great job. Like, this is just a really well-written scene. Like, it is a pretty, like, thought-out sequence.
Exactly.
And it is, the entire movie really is build up towards this one.
Yes.
And then obviously the falling action and then having to get our just us.
Exactly. Yeah, the entire movie kind of hinges on this scene, basically.
Yeah. And please don't kill that baby. No. I can't.
Apparently Wes Craven was actually considering it in the 70s, and the cast and crew basically said they'd walk off set if he did it. So he was like, okay, maybe not.
There's no reason for it other than just shock value.
Exactly.
And then instead of, like, trying to say something, even it just takes away from that.
Exactly.
So
it was just too much.
Yeah.
Basically, just too much. And I kind of agree. Like, I think if at the end of the movie the baby hadn't survived, it would have been so bleak that it would have affected how audiences
We already killed
saw the movie.
Beauty.
Yes, I forgot to mention that. Beauty the dog, who's our first death. Although, apparently, in the original movie, it is actually a dead dog. That is not a, like, puppet. That's not a prosthetic piece.
I was worried about that.
Yes, and apparently the producers were a little cagey about where they got it from, but they claim to have purchased it from the county sheriff's office, which... do most American county sheriffs have, like, a dog morgue? I didn't really think that was something that they dealt with.
Well, because they, like, I guess, like, I'm guessing, presuming, assuming, because obviously those are canine unit dogs, right?
Yeah, they're
German
Alsatians,
Shepherds, that type. So, like, I really am hoping that it was just a recently deceased.
That's what I'm going to choose to believe at this point, because we don't know for sure. So
dogs don't have rights like that. You can't sign your body off to medical dog science.
No, and also just, like, animal cruelty on set was not something anybody was really worried about at that point, which is awful, but it's true. So to say, I'm going to choose to believe that they purchased it from the county sheriff.
Yeah.
Because, to say, apparently at the time they were a little cagey about where they got it from. So
I'm impressed, though, because this is your best worst fun fact. Because I do not like this one.
I do not like that. That's a very unfun fact. Yeah. When I read that, I was like, ooh, I don't love that, Wes Craven. I know it was the 70s, but, like, I don't love that.
Me neither.
That was a lot. So once the mutants have left our trailer, Bobby, who had gone out searching, along with Doug, who had also gone out searching, everybody has returned. Big Bob is dead after Doug has put the fire out, basically, but that's it. Over the rest of the night, unfortunately, Ethel dies from her gunshot wound. Basically, just Brenda, Bobby, and Doug who are left at this point. And honestly, just kind of goes haywire from here. So Dog and and Beast are remaining pup, decide to go out and try and find baby Katie, while the other two stay back at the trailer and just try to survive, basically. And the original basically culminates with Doug coming back to the trailer with the baby and, killing all of the mutants. That's it. And here's my question. On the copy that you watched, how did it end? Because there are actually two endings.
Okay, there were the Ruby. They're holding hands.
Okay, yeah. Same one I watched. So apparently in the original theatrical cut, when Doug and Mutant Ruby reappear with the baby that they managed to rescue, what happens is Brenda murders the last mutant. She hits him with a pickaxe in the head.
Yes.
And apparently in the original, that's where it ends. With the pickaxe to the head. That's it. Okay. You don't see Ruby and Doug and Brenda and Bobby and all of them kind of like reuniting and holding hands and sort of implying that they're going to go off into the world together.
Obviously, audiences weren't happy.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be
It's too bleak.
Yeah, and I mean, I love a bleak ending. I do, but that's a lot.
They did. Well, that's why, like, spoiler alert, I do like how it ends. I do like the fact that it's, like, that part you can leave ambiguous.
Exactly.
It's fine. You know that there's other mutant children. They're living their life as little mutant children.
Exactly.
Yeah, that part was good. But very, like, it's intense.
It's
very intense.
It's very intense.
Sorry to be all soft, everyone.
But, like, it is. Don't judge me.
Yeah.
Say, don't judge me.
I need relief.
Sometimes you do need a little bit of relief.
I can take a bleak ending, but I like relief. I'm sorry.
I mean, I do, but for example, like, I love The Mist, if you've ever seen that.
See, that's
a bleak ending. That ending is bleak. Like, that is rough. Like, that is so rough, but that's a great fucking movie. That movie is genuinely scary. That's a great movie.
It is. It is. I like it, like... I know the CGI isn't the best on it.
No, but the story is great.
Yeah, it's a good movie discussion question afterwards of like, would you, wouldn't you? Exactly. So even being proposed with that question, and you can throw it on. It is a throw-on movie.
Right?
There's some really good performances. It's wild.
And I'm sure we'll talk about it at a later episode. Yeah. So we'll just tell you that the ending is bleak, but we won't tell you what happens. So the remake of this movie basically follows the exact same story. There are a few small differences, but it is basically the same. So let's get into some fun facts here, since I've kind of been peppering them through here. Let's really get into it. So this was actually Wes Craven's second feature.
What was his first again?
Last House on the Left.
Okay.
So this was only his second feature movie. He actually really didn't want to make a horror movie again after making Last House on the Left, but literally no one would give him money to do anything else. So he wound up making this with Peter Locke. It was heavily inspired by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, as well as The Grapes of Wrath and Hansel and Gretel, which I think is fascinating. Yeah. So the idea that you have these siblings at the end of your movie, so you have Brenda and Bobby, and then a sibling-in-law, which is Doug, who are the survivors, and you have your themes of cannibalism throughout, and then obviously it's set in the sort of high desert, which gives that Grapes of Wrath kind of vibe where you're stuck in this scenario and you have to just do whatever you can to get by.
Yes.
But two of the biggest inspirations for this movie actually were one personal experience Wes Craven had where he was on a motorcycle trip with his wife. They stopped in a little Nevada town, and apparently a trio of locals actually shot an arrow past his head and insulted him when they arrived. And Craven, in true LA style, threatened to sue them. And they replied that they could easily kill him, leave his corpse in a nearby salt mine, and nobody would ever know.
Perfect.
Yes. And then partially Peter Locke, one of the executive producers, his idea was to create a movie based on the Scottish legend of Sawney Bean.
I have heard of that because I am a true crime girly. So
I am also a true crime girly, but for those who are not, this is actually a Scottish sort of, I guess, like urban legend. excuse me, would be the way I would describe it. Sonny Bean purportedly lived in the Highlands of Scotland's East Lothian County near Edinburgh in the early 1400s, and he and his family were rumored to have captured, tormented, and eaten up to, they say, 1,000 transients. But, like, let's be real, in the 1400s, you did not have thousands of transients coming through the Scottish Highlands. People couldn't travel that much, so I would assume it would probably be closer to tens or hundreds. But they were rumored to be cannibals. They were eventually captured on the order of King James, judged to be insane, and executed without trial. The executions allegedly involved grotesque tortures, including, I believe, being drawn and quartered, which, if you don't know what that is, don't Google it. It'll ruin your whole day.
Unless you want your day to be ruined.
Exactly. If you're interested in medieval torture, then give it a Google. If not, don't go there, babe.
Yeah.
So the executions, because they did involve these grotesque tortures, apparently inspired the aspects of the films that the Carter family would become as brutal as their attackers when they seek revenge, because that was how Peter Locke and Wes Craven really viewed the sort of, judge, jury, executioner of this scenario. Because if someone is being arrested for torturing people and you proceed to torture them, are you really that much better? Just gonna let you think about that. The Bean story is now considered folklore, and there's no way to verify it, so it is just a legend.
A legend to fearmonger against white on white crime.
I mean, realistically, it's probably the English fearmongering against the Scottish at the time, because they did not get along.
Exactly.
And I would argue probably still don't. At least certain ones. Because retellings of the story also take place anywhere from the 15th to the 17th century, depending on your sources. And, they also disagree on the various tortures and how the executions were carried out. So it's a very loose legend in that way, but it did serve as a very big inspiration for this movie. This movie was actually originally rated X by the MPAA, and Wes Craven had to recut to get an R, and I believe there's about 15 minutes of footage that he cut out, which is actually now considered lost. It doesn't exist anymore.
I believe it, yeah.
So for anybody who's interested, unfortunately, you cannot find it. It was originally titled Blood Relations, when Wes Craven wrote it, but it didn't test very well, and the one that did was The Hills Have Eyes, even though apparently Wes Craven absolutely hated that title. Virginia Vincent, who plays Ethel, her reaction to being shot in the gut is actually genuine, because her squib misfired and actually caused some injuries to the point where she was sent to the hospital. So she survived, she was fine, but that was a real look of shock on her face.
Aww.
Because also a 70s squib, I would imagine, probably hurts a lot more than a modern one, because, yeah, not great materials that you're working with there again.
Well, why'd it have to be her? You know, it doesn't, I don't want it to be anybody, but it's her character has a bleak ending, and then it's her time on set.
It's so rough.
Oh.
The scene at the beginning of the movie with Lynn fetching Doug's jacket in the trailer, where there is a gigantic tarantula sitting on it, which when I was watching, I was like, this does feel kind of out of place. I don't really know why we're doing this. It's because it was entirely spur of the moment. They found the tarantula on the shooting location, and were like, hey, this is really scary. We should pop this in here. And they did, and they released the spider unharmed afterwards. I did check. But Dee Wallace's comment was yeah, I wasn't acting. That was terrifying. I didn't want to be anywhere near that thing. Absolutely not.
Most spiders have agents these days.
They have wranglers, actually.
Yeah.
Because tarantulas, I know a couple people who have them as pets, and fun fact, they are incredibly fragile. If they fall from even a couple of feet, their body will basically burst. And they are also terrified of people and don't bite, which I think is really interesting. At least not often, apparently. Still not going to buy one. But, fun fact. The shoot was extremely rough. This was shot in California, and the temperatures during the day would go up to nearly 50 degrees Celsius, which is absolutely insane. And then at night, it would be -5. So you have the two extremes, basically, and all of the actors talked about being just deeply uncomfortable.
Of course.
This was Dee Wallace's breakout role. So after this, she went on to star in The Howling in 1981, in E.T. in 1982. She plays the mom in E.T. In Cujo in 1983, and Critters in 1986. We love a scream queen.
We love a queen.
As I previously mentioned, producer Peter Locke also plays Mercury in the original. And yeah, that is basically all of our fun facts for the original right there. So just cut me off on that one.
No, that's perfect. Those are a lot of good fun facts. It's nice when a movie has been around this long.
Mm-hmm.
It's a part of a director's lore.
It is.
And, like, to be fair, Alexandre Aja doesn't even have, like, he's got a pretty good filmography as well. And, like, I would say that this is his American breakout and, like,
Absolutely.
a pretty good staple.
Mm-hmm.
I do love the fact that it is, like, a modern resurgence because we do claim that it's the torture porn era for the 2000s. But with a lot of the rape revenge movies that had come out,
Yes.
and especially that even being his first movie,
Yeah.
it is kind of a cool juxtaposition. It is a cool, like,
Also a bold
meeting.
move.
Yeah.
Bold
Oh, yeah.
move. You're going to remake this absolutely iconic horror property that is a rape revenge, which is always a dicey thing.
And
like,
it was
regardless.
like, when I was trying to get into horror, it was probably my first one that I experienced as well. And I was, like, at home watching it by myself, being like, what is happening here?
And, like, speaking just for myself for a moment.
Why is this on TV?
Right? Rape revenge is one of my least favorite subgenres in horror. Like, for me, that's just something that, like, really gets to me on a very deep level, so I don't enjoy watching it. But I have to admit, when it's done well, holy shit, it can be incredible.
It's a tricky one to do well because it's so sensitive.
Like, so for example, for me, I would say that's my least favorite subgenre, but one of my favorite horror movies ever is literally a rape revenge movie. So, like, I
love being a contradiction.
Exactly.
You know what? It's totally fine.
It's
that's
fine.
the cool part about people making good stuff is
Exactly.
it makes you question what you like and what you don't like.
Exactly.
Which is great.
And by the way, the movie I'm talking about is American Mary. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend checking it out. Great Canadian horror movie. Super intense body horror rape revenge film, but made by two women, twin sisters, the Saska twins. We love to see it. So I do feel like they handle it very well. Anyway, moving on.
Great sidebar. I love a good sidebar.
Thank you. So fun facts for our remake here. So the remake was, as we've said, directed by Alexandre Aja. It was shot on location in Morocco, actually, because the original shooting location they did want to use, and when they went to scout it, it turned out it had been turned into condos. So it no longer exists.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
Wait till we get to the pitches.
Oh god, it's gonna be so much. So the mutants on the remake were actually created with a blend of makeup and CGI. So for example, most of the mutants, the adult mutants, had just prosthetic makeup, whereas Ruby and the children were actually a combination of CGI and prosthetic makeup.
Oh, that's cool.
Which I thought was really interesting. And it did actually look, especially for the time, it looks great. Like, Ruby's face looks seamless.
It does.
It looks phenomenal.
It does.
And that is due entirely to CANNI-BALL. They spent months beforehand working with various design programs, including things like ZBrush, in order to figure out how to blend those things correctly.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, they killed it. It looks so good.
Then it led to the modern, like, it's so cool. That's so cool because it led to the modern, prosthetics. And then you get things like the whale.
Exactly.
Our Oscar-winning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Almost all of Ted Levine, who plays Big Bob in the remake, almost all of his lines were unscripted and improv. That is just Ted Levine doing his thing, who always plays creepy people and always kills it. Like, I think of him in Shutter Island. He plays one of the guards who has a great monologue about the nature of God and man, and he's deeply creepy. I'm going to try and pronounce this name, so please forgive me. I believe it's Oana Turchetto, who plays Big Mama in the remake, agreed to shave her head for an additional $1,000. So she's not wearing a bald cap. She actually went for it. The mutants in the remake were actually based on the victims of the effects of nuclear fallout from the victims of Chernobyl and Hiroshima. So Alexandre Aja and the makeup department started researching like months in advance in order to try and recreate those effects as realistically as they possibly could. Obviously, they're very heightened, but like as
Speaking of peppering, they did a really good job in doing that in the credits. So then that way it set you up for like cool little like giveaways and like things that you could look for later.
Well, fun fact, in the opening credits, all of the images that you see are actually birth defects caused by the use of Agent Orange in Vietnam.
Crazy.
So those are real photos. Those were real people.
This is why horror is so great, because that's like, let's deep dive on a history lesson.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
And all of it ties into some of the themes we were talking about earlier with like, you know, obviously the idea of the American dream, the American military industrial complex, all of that stuff. It's really fascinating to see the way that people will use that sort of, like you say, that little bit of history in order to really create that horror, because nothing's scarier than the truth, friends.
Yes.
Wes Craven actually chose Alexandre Aja to direct after seeing High Tension because he loved it so much. And his comment was, even if you didn't like the movie per se, these people fundamentally understand how to scare people, and that's important. This movie was also almost rated X initially. It was rated NC-17, and 2 minutes of footage had to be edited out to get an R rating. Papa Jupiter, one of our mutants, who we actually don't see much of in the remake. We see a lot more of him in the original. He was originally meant to have a parasitic twin coming out of his chest, but the piece wound up being removed from the film. I think it was just probably too much work at that point. They just decided to, nah. And the Finch scene that we mentioned in the trailer sequence was actually originally going to be replaced. Alexandre Aja wanted to replace the birds with kittens that the mutants would put in a blender, then drink.
Nah.
And
Wes
Craven refused, and he said it was too much, and he was afraid that members would try to copycat the scene.
Oh.
Which, Wes Craven, what is in your brain? I know people are fucked up, but what?
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I'm just happy. It's kind of funny.
I'm glad they didn't do it, don't get me wrong, but where is your head at, Wes Craven? What's happening there? Okay, and instead of going through the entire plot of the remake, since it's the same, we're just gonna do a little cute little compare and contrast here, guys. So basically, for this movie, there are a few differences from the original, in that the original, I believe they just say they're on the way to California, but they never actually specify where the movie takes place, which is intentional. It could be anywhere kind of vibe. This is specifically set in New Mexico, and it references various nuclear tests that were done by the American government in the 50s and 60s. However, the tests that they're referring to, it was actually a singular test known as the Trinity test, and that did take place in New Mexico in the 50s, and then most of the nuclear testing that the American government did actually took place in Nevada. So the idea that all of this was taking place in New Mexico is not true. There was one really big test, which is the one that they reference with the fake people set up in the homes and all of that stuff. That was the Trinity test, which took place in, I believe it was 1954, I want to say, but don't quote me on that one. It was in the 50s, and that was the only one that happened there. So slight historical discrepancy there, but you know what? That's okay. They have
slight historical discrepancy, but it also when you start questioning the plot that way, you kind of see it as a whole, which is totally fine because then you just go with it. If we can do it for Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull,
if he can survive it in a fridge, we can do this.
We can do it for The Hills Have Eyes.
God,
thank you.
Maybe one day we'll do an Indiana Jones retrospective, but oh my god, that movie.
Kali Ma.
I mean, that's a good one at least. So in the remake, we have 10 mutants, including all of our kids, whereas in the original there were only 7, and we did not have any small children. The mutant's origin is revealed to Doug by the character Big Brain in the remake, which, very accurate name. He looks like, what's the alien from American Dad?
Oh, yeah, Roger.
Roger, yes, he looks like Roger.
Yeah, I loved the human sloth.
Yeah,
vibe. Everybody's got a little bit, but he had a lot of it.
Yeah. Whereas in the original, Fred, the owner of the service station, fills in Big Bob, who does not ever pass that information on to anybody else because he dies.
So much exposition in the original.
So much exposition.
Yeah.
In the remake, Ruby actually dies, which in the original, she goes off, you assume at least she goes off with Doug and Bobby and Brenda. In the remake, the survivors are still being watched as they leave by an unknown mutant through binoculars, which basically just takes the ending of the original where, there are other mutants out there and just really puts it directly in your view.
Well, in good sequel fashion format, you're set them up. Set them up
and knock them down.
Yep.
And one thing that I noticed really quickly, actually, and it is a thing, is that in the remake, Doug, who is one of our final boys, since we have 2, is heavily, heavily modeled after Dustin Hoffman in Straw Dogs.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Which basically the idea was that their characters are so similar in that they are, you know, Doug gets made fun of for being a Democrat and not liking guns and things like that. He's a much more sort of gentle character in that way, who's then pushed to wild acts of violence in order to protect the people that he loves. So it's so funny because when I actually had forgotten, but when you even Google the poster for Straw Dogs with Dustin Hoffman, he looks exactly like Doug. Same wire rimmed glasses, the white bloodstained shirt, same haircut, the whole thing. So I was like, okay, this was a big one for you, wasn't it, Alexandre Aja? And honestly, I kind of love that because Straw Dogs, again, is not a movie that I like. I'm not a huge Peckinpah fan, but just seeing those references, it's always something that makes my little nerd heart happy when I can see a director has done their homework.
Yeah.
And is a huge cinephile and not just someone who happens to be really good at directing, because that does occasionally happen.
Of course. And plus horror, we love a good homage.
We do.
We don't rip off, we homage.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's always like a wink and nod.
Mm-hmm. Which I love.
Yeah. Also, there was the scene in the remake where he picks up his glasses and he puts them back on. I felt that as a glasses wearer. I fucking felt that. It's like, you can take anything away from me, but you will not take away my ability to see.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, I'm not a glasses wearer, so I can't relate, but I'm glad that stuck out. So what were the best parts of the remake for you? What did you love?
The makeup, honestly, is it. It's the makeup and the production design.
Yeah.
It's simple. The location is simple, but it's also scary because it's just like there's nothing out there for miles.
Yes.
But yeah, honestly, the makeup is like
top tier.
Yeah, it is. The effects, like the scene where he is again in the just like filled with the body parts.
Yes.
It is similar to the scene in Saw 2 when she's like clawing her way out from the needles.
Oh, I hate that scene.
So like you feel like just like the wanting to get outness.
Yeah, the claustrophobia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better when a movie does that, or like when you think of that scene.
Absolutely. For me, the scene I always think of for claustrophobia is The Descent.
Yeah.
When before the monsters show up, when she gets stuck. I have seen The Descent dozens of times. So many times. It's one of my favorites. Even now, I know that scene is coming and I will watch it and my hands are literally shaking with anxiety. Oh. I can't. I absolutely can't. It gets to me. And I feel like the scene in the freezer where he's with all the body parts is very, very much like that. Where like, it's just, you feel it and it's horrible.
Which is great because then it takes the original and then it just turns it up.
Yeah, it just ramps it up to 100. I really loved that we actually like went down into the mines in this one, and like you get not only more well-rounded characters for the family, you also get that for the mutants, which I really like.
Yeah. Because
you don't go kind of too far into it, which is what I feel like a lot of franchises do now, where everybody needs a prequel, everybody needs a backstory that's like super detailed. I don't need that. This one, I feel like, gave you just enough. So you know who they are, you know why they're doing this, and you know how they're doing this. Yeah. And that's really all that matters. That's all that I need. So I loved that. And I also felt like despite the fact this has a slightly longer runtime, it's about 15 minutes longer than the original, it was much better paced. Because it's just off and running. It's like, I was watching it and it was quite late, I'm not gonna lie. So at one point I was like, oh, you know, we're just getting to like Big Bob and things are ramping up and this is like a 2-hour movie. And I looked at it and I was already over an hour in. I was like, oh my God, amazing. Okay,
they did
love
a smart thing because obviously they have like, you know, it's new. So instead of taking the final act to just the trailer, they involved our action sequence of him just busting through doors and them just getting into the fight and finding all these different objects to kind of quote unquote play with.
Yes.
Which was fun. It just added more intensity, added more blood, added more gore. And then, holy crap, though you do get slightly exhausted because you're just like, how many more hits to the face can he get?
Yes, that was one thing about this movie. So many people are unconscious for so long. I'm like, your brains would be so fucked.
Yeah.
The longer you're unconscious when you get hit on the head, the worse it's going to be. So, like, that's not great.
Even though there was, like, for Bobby especially, there was, like, a good kind of little character arc for him because he was such a little brat, playful brother. And then as soon as he sees the dog, the way that it is, he's so, like, messed up about it that you're like, it's believable. And then plus, both the original and the remake, when he falls and like hits his head, I'm like, damn it.
Because that's...
You're like double traumatized.
Yeah. And also just like that feels very real because you would be scrambling and doing everything you could to get out of there and not really paying attention. So you probably would fall. You probably would smash your head.
I know I touched on the bright blue bra and the capris, but
the capris.
Both movies were so classic of their time.
Yes.
Just the long sleeve and the short sleeve. And
the layers and the low-rise pants.
Oh, so funny, so funny. And then, of course, like classic 70s fashion as well.
Yeah,
like
and Brenda's hair clips. That was what got me, her little middle part in her hair clips that's like so 70s.
Yes.
And like she looks adorable, don't get me wrong, but like so 70s. Yeah. I also really loved like kind of what you just touched on, the fact that like when Brenda and Bobby are back at the trailer in the remake, they booby trap it.
Yeah.
They're smart, they're resourceful, they have a lot more agency than they did in the first movie, like especially Brenda.
And they twisted it. It was so good.
Exactly.
They took that a scene and then you're like, okay, well they're just gonna get through. And then they twisted it. And
exactly.
I was so happy.
Which was so fun. Like when they blow up, I assume that's Papa Jupiter was kind of my assumption. Because they don't actually like introduce him the way they do in the original, which I'm okay with.
Me too.
But the fact that they like booby trap the whole trailer and they like have this whole plan and they actually managed to execute it really well, like that I thought was very, very cool and a really fun, as you say, sort of like twist and one up on the original, which I really, really liked.
Again, for this one, I don't really have any worst things about it, to be honest, because I kind of like it.
I like it, but I have a couple.
Okay,
I have a couple. The first one, and this is again just a personal thing, it's not necessarily bad, is what I would describe as the rapey breastfeeding scene.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
I think just because it is a lot, but you know what? It's the dirty fingers that get me.
Totally.
Get that manicure brush in there.
Right, like get away from me. Like absolutely. And it's very effective. It's really disturbing. So I can't argue that it's like bad. It's just something that I don't love. And the fact that later when Doug finds her in the trailer, she somehow survived the headshot for a few seconds.
Oh, that was so stark.
That was stupid. Yeah. I'm sorry. That was dumb. Like, she doesn't say anything. She doesn't do anything. She literally just gasps back to life and then dies in her husband's arms. And I was like, she could have just died.
That's how you know I'll call it a symptom of the era in the sense that, like, torture porn, like, extra, like, everybody was just turning things up so far.
Just maximize suffering, basically. And
I don't even, I guess, like, because we could, or, like, I don't really, like, it's kind of, well, it's just a reflection of the time, too.
Absolutely.
That's the thing about horror. It's a reflection of our time. What was going on in the 70s, the late 70s especially, or depending when they filmed, and then, like, what was going on in the 2000s. So
exactly. Yeah. So it's definitely that sort of, like, societal mirror that horror so often is. But I agree, where you're just, like, in retrospect, you're like, do we need to do this?
Yeah.
You know? Like, I don't know if it really adds anything to the story or the movie. Like, do we need to do it?
But I'm also happy that we have covered Raw and that we have covered Bones and All because of, like, just the difference of, like, some American, like, and some of our French extremity and, like, kind of seeing that kind of come through, especially with the cannibalism theme, because some of the different things, like, now they're different. Like, this is, the other ones have kind of, like, splayed on addiction. This is, like,
or, like, desire, for example, is a huge theme with cannibalism. And this is just
like
about
survival.
Yeah, it's survival and bloody gore. It's an interesting, it's interesting to see how the theme of cannibalism has evolved over the years in film. I think it's really fascinating. The only other things I had that I didn't love were actually sound design things, which is kind of picky, but it just totally took me out. Like, as Big Bob goes to the service station, he sees all of these, like, newspaper clippings on a wall about missing families and nuclear testing and all this stuff, which is our exposition dump as opposed to Fred giving it to us. But every time he looks at a different headline, you get a sound effect of a knife slashing.
Oh, I will say that.
Like, shing, shing, shing,
again.
Shing. And I was like, Bob, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's the 1977 of it all. The synth score and some of the effects for sure. Totally. And then it was kind of funny because they even had that sprinkled into the remake.
Well, that was in the remake. Yeah. Because in the original, you get Fred explaining everything to Bob. So in the remake, it's him looking at these headlines. And it's like, as I say, shing, headline, shing, headline, shing, headline. And I was like, guys, I get what you're doing. Like, it's a cute little homage to 70s soundtracks and stuff. But, like, this is not good.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes for the very end of the movie when Doug shoots what he believes to be the final mutant. There's this, like, big swell of triumphant music for, like, 10 seconds. And I'm like, guys, this isn't that movie. Like, this isn't that movie. Yeah. So that was something where I was like, I could have lived without that a little bit.
Yeah. It just cheeses it up when it's supposed to be so intense.
Yes. So the original of this movie actually launched a whole franchise. But before we start to talk about that, I want to know, for the original, what is your rating, Jimmy?
For the original, I would have to give it I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Mm-hmm. I want to give it a 7, but actually, no, I'll give it a 7 because for a 70s movie, it actually has a lot of good rewatchability, and for some of the nighttime scenes, again, like, they're surprisingly bright. So I'll give that a 7 out of 10. I give them actually, like, both 7s, to be honest.
Fair. I did a 6 and a 6.5 because I actually like the remake a little bit better, which also never really happens. Like, that's kind of unusual. Would you say you would rewatch it?
I would actually rewatch both.
Yeah. I think I would actually rewatch the remake a little bit more. It would depend on the mood I wanted, but I would rewatch the original, and I would recommend it, but mostly just because of how iconic it is and how much other stuff it's inspired. It's one of those things where, like, if you're a horror nerd and you're trying to fill in those, like, self-referential blanks, this is a great one to watch.
And, like, I get everybody's trying, but it also kind of comes from an era when they were trying, even though they were remaking. Which is kind of funny.
Yeah, which is so funny because it was part of a string of remakes, including The Last House on the Left, I believe, and a few other ones that came out.
Yes.
And a lot of them were not good. And this one was actually pretty good. Despite what everybody told me at the time. I should have watched this sooner. This was actually pretty good.
Well, a lot of people are purists.
That's so fair.
We're modern people, so we kind of have to adapt, and I have to change my opinion. That's the thing too. Like, you get so attached to a property that you don't really want change. But sometimes the change can be good because, like, we had our discussion on Halloween like a while ago.
We did,
and that's that really depends. It depends.
If you want to hear me rant about it, listen to our last episode where I rant about my beef with David Gordon Green. It's all there. If we ever cover Halloween, I will go in much more depth. Yeah. I'm sorry in advance, but it will happen.
It's interesting that you and I both kind of have
similar thoughts ratings on this one. Yeah. For the original, was there anybody who stuck out as, like, notable or, like, just, like, anything that really stuck out to you?
Honestly, I was just pretty impressed with, like simple, like, pacing is pretty good, storyline's pretty simple, you're getting into it, it's pretty intense for the time era, and I think it, like, remains timeless that way. Yeah.
I agree. And for me, Michael Berryman is a huge standout because he is really good in that movie.
He is.
Like, he's genuinely really creepy. He's really good. And obviously Dee Wallace is great.
Yeah.
Like, she's just so good. There's a reason why she became one of the most famous people, other than Wes Craven, involved with this movie. And then for the remake, I just put, honestly, notable Beast for always being the best boy.
Yes.
Like, Doug would not have survived without that dog. Like, man's best friend. 10 out of 10. What a good boy.
One of the few movies where you're actually able to make the pet somewhat of a hero because there's two.
Exactly. There's two of them.
Yeah, redemption.
Exactly. Okay. All right. So before we discuss the franchise, should we get into our pitches?
Yeah, let's pitch.
Okay. Do you want to get a timer going here?
Yeah,
we can do it together? I hope you guys are ready for this.
Alrighty. Do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So here's my pitch for a direct sequel to the 1977 The Hills Have Eyes. A zany new comedy from Wes Craven. After Doug, Brenda, and baby Katie and their new friend Ruby survive their horrific ordeal in the desert, they decide to continue on to sunny California. Brenda and Doug decide to raise Katie together, since there was absolutely a vibe between them for this whole movie, which was a little weird. And they try to help Ruby adjust to life amidst normal society. If only they could get her to stop eating their neighbors. Classic Ruby. Ruby is eventually apprehended by the police, but at her trial, she gives a moving speech about learning to understand and appreciate our differences as people, and is released. Our funny little Carol and her found family walk off into the sunset together.
Oh, I like that. That's cute.
Right? I'm thinking sort of like Santa Clarita Diet vibes. Like,
yes.
Sitcom, but make it spooky.
Yes, sitcom, but make it spooky. Also, what a good show. It was cute. It was quirky.
I gotta do my girl Drew Barrymore like that. Cancel her show.
Victim of the pandemic. That's...
T.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
I'm
so
ready for your pitch, Jimmy.
my pitch is going to be for the remake. So I'm
Ooh,
glad that we
okay.
balanced. That
Love
was
that.
not planned, not planned.
Ooh, look at us go.
Okay, so my pitch for the remake is that a land developer real estate agent takes his family, and he also takes the people who want to develop the land by making it a dark tourist attraction for radioactive test sites.
Ooh.
But the people are still there. So while they're developing the land or like trying to like scout it out, they're slowly but surely going missing, and the family has to defend.
I like that.
And that's my pitch.
I like that. That's giving Chernobyl, like that horror movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
I like that.
yes.
I'm into that.
You know, a bit of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
You know, a bit of a House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah.
A bit of like, Can You Survive the Night?
Mm-hmm,
You know, a bit of like, do we need to keep developing on land that we don't think we should keep developing on?
Right.
I forget the horror lore of the one film where they worked on a radioactive beach or like sand, and a lot of the crew members ended up like passing away from like illnesses related to it because it was used as some sort of test site. I'll have to look more into that.
Oh, is that Stalker, the Tarkovsky movie?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
It's a Russian movie?
Yeah.
That's Stalker. It's a Tarkovsky movie. Yeah. Because they were shooting out somewhere, I think not too far from Chernobyl or something like that.
Yes, and some of the water sources and stuff
and
like
they were
that.
like, they had cam ops like laying in water and stuff to try and get the camera at the right angle, and they almost all wound up getting some kind of effect from the radiation.
Full body chills, you guys. That's awful.
I mean, I'm all about living your life for your art, but there has to be a line, guys.
Oh, straight up workplace illness.
Yeah.
Workplace safety. That goes in every industry.
Yes. Do not sacrifice your literal life for your art, guys. Like, don't do it.
Fight for your right.
Yes. Fight for your safety. Fight for your rights.
Okay. Those are great pitches, by the way.
Yeah, I like yours.
Yeah, me too. I like yours.
Oh, thanks, guys.
I didn't see a comedy angle.
Right?
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I think we're going just like left field, full zany comedy.
Might as well. And then, funny thing is I haven't seen The Hills Have Eyes 2.
I have not seen it either.
In a very long time, or maybe I just
I've never
threw
seen
it on.
I've never seen the sequel.
And when I saw the
remake of the
description of it, I was like, I'm going to have to change my pitch idea because it's already been made.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. Yeah, I haven't seen the sequel or the remake of the sequel, just because, like, I don't know, I heard kind of mixed things about the original sequel. Apparently it's not bad, but I heard kind of mixed things, and since I didn't watch the remake when it came out, I didn't see the second one when it came out either.
Of course. That's kind of funny.
Now I might have to. Now I might have to check them out.
Just to see where the original one goes for, because the military aspect, because you're gonna get into it.
Oh yeah, now we're gonna get into this.
Tell me about
into this here franchise. Okay, so The Hills Have Eyes 2, which came out in 1985, or sorry, Part 2, which came out in 1985. Is about a group of bikers, which includes some of the survivors from the original film. They embark on a journey by bus to a bike race near the desert of the infamous incidents. However, because of a mistake, they are late and decide to take a shortcut through the desert. Guys, this didn't work out the first time. Why are you doing it the second time? Halfway through the desert, the bus breaks down. While trying to repair the bus, some of the group wander off and wind up in the traps of the survivors of the mutant family of the first film. Then the mutants slowly pick off the rest. So, I mean, it does kind of sound a little bit like it's just a little bit of a remake of the first, the way that some sequels kind of are. But you know what? If it's well done, I'm not mad at that.
No, and plus, bigger budget, more extras, more people to kill off.
Exactly.
Depending where we are in the slasher era, it depends if they wanted more slashers and how we were for sequels.
Well, this is mid-'80s, so we're peak slasher at this point.
Yeah.
And actually, this Hills Have Eyes Part 2 was directed by Wes Craven, and he wanted to turn it into a series like Halloween or Friday the 13th. Or Friday the 13th or something like that. So that was actually his goal, was to create like a slasher franchise by doing this. And he actually wrote a third Hills Have Eyes movie, although it's not called The Hills Have Eyes. It's actually called Mind Ripper, and it came out in 1995, so 10 years later. It was planned as a sequel. That was always the idea, but basically, I think it was probably due to studio interference. I couldn't really find a full explanation. It was rewritten to not mention the first two films at all directly. So I believe it just hints at them, but it is considered a third Hills Have Eyes
Which
movie.
is kind of a modern problem where the studio they really like a concept.
Mm-hmm.
The audience, we really like a concept.
Yes.
But we don't want the same movie.
Yes.
So it's like, I can understand why they did that.
Exactly.
Take notes.
Take notes.
Yeah.
And the remake did also spawn a sequel to Hills Have Eyes 2, which came out the following year, 2007. It was directed by Martin Weiss, and it was actually written by Wes Craven and his son Jonathan. So
Nice.
even though he didn't direct, he was involved in the project. And the synopsis for the Hills Have Eyes 2 from 2007 was: a team of trainees of the National Guard brings supply to the New Mexico desert for a group of soldiers and scientists that are installing a monitoring system in Sector 16. They do not find anybody in the camp, and they receive a blurred distress signal from the hills. Their sergeant gathers a rescue team, and they are attacked and trapped by deformed cannibals having to fight to survive. So this one honestly didn't get quite as good of reviews as the others. It's kind of, my impression was that she was a little weak. To give you an indication, on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 13% critics score and a 40% audience score.
Oh.
So people didn't love the sequel to the remake.
See, that sucks because I would kind of wish I have seen it now.
Right.
Because what if it needs a little more justification?
Maybe.
Especially when you're doing it from a military angle.
Yeah.
So you know that there's more bullets.
More
there's
firepower.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Who doesn't like to blow shit up?
Right? We love a blower up real good movie.
But it depends. Are we if you don't have the same support system, how are you gonna let that plant grow?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like, did Wes kind of get himself involved in the new remake sequel?
He did. He wrote it, as I say, with his son. So they at least wrote the script.
Yeah.
But honestly, as you and I can attest to, and anybody who's ever been on a film set will tell you, just because it's in the script does not mean that's what makes it to screen.
No.
So I couldn't actually find a ton of information about the production of this, partially just because people didn't really like it, so nobody, it sounds harsh,
nobody
cared.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, I believe Wes Craven also served as a producer in some capacity, but that was basically it. I don't think he was actually on set for that one.
That makes sense. You just give your script
and then go off and do your thing.
Yeah. Well, and how much money did you get paid, and then how much money did you make?
Yeah, exactly.
The business, baby.
The business, baby. It was also released in tandem with a graphic novel called The Hills Have Eyes: The Beginning, which was a prequel to the original movie, about the mutants and how they came to be. So that I think would actually be kind of cool to investigate. That I would be interested in reading. But yeah, didn't do great. So let's see, what was the budget and box office for this? Oh God, sorry. All right, so since we're talking about Rotten Tomatoes, let's get into it. The original is rated at a 69% critical score and a 54% audience score, so pretty good overall. It was released on July 22nd of 1977. It was actually quite well received at the time. A lot of critics praised its tension and its imagination. Basically the only people who didn't really like it were people who didn't really like horror, which yeah, of course that's gonna happen. It actually won the Critics Award at the, I believe it's pronounced Sitges?
Okay.
I don't know, I'm sorry guys. Film Fest in 1977. It had a budget of between $350,000 and $700,000. Nobody's really sure how much it is, they just know it was quite low budget. Because for example, Wes Craven actually had to borrow the cameras from someone who is just credited as a prominent California pornographer, but no names. So this was a very tight budget, but it actually wound up making $25 million worldwide in 1977, which I did not do the conversion, but that's a lot of money, especially when you spend only about, $500,000, maybe a little bit more to make it. So very, very, very successful. From a financial perspective. The remake was similar. It had a budget of $15 million and made $70 million worldwide. It actually, I believe, made $15 million in its opening weekend. It made its budget back. It has a 51% critic score and a 58% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So again, not bad. Mm-hmm. Not bad.
Interesting.
It was released on March 10th of 2006. It had mixed reviews. Hardcore gorehounds at the time really loved it. It did get accused of being torture porn, although a lot of reviewers said that was actually not the case at all. And there were the usual sort of, extreme gore, horror, exploitation, horror complaints where they said that the characters were underdeveloped and so were their motivations. And I'm sorry, but if you're watching this kind of movie as a character study, you are watching the wrong movie. Like, that's not the point. That's not why we're here. So Jayme, what would you cut, keep, and redo from the original?
What would I would see, the problem is like I want to cut the unsubtle, because sometimes they're just not subtle about things. Like you were very upfront and like open about it.
Yes.
I think the only thing I would cut is the wardrobe and actually make them look more like mutant people and not like you got off the Flintstone set.
That's so fair.
It just so fair. It throws it off.
Yeah.
I would redo the ending like how it was in the remake, but you can't because it just is so weird. Just these people killed it. Like, here, let me take your hand. I'm like, okay. Cut, keep.
And what would you redo?
What would I redo? I said I would redo the ending.
Yes,
what would I keep? Honestly, I would keep the premise, keep the actors, keep most of the film because it is fun. Like it is if you like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre and you like want to keep the party going, it is a way to keep it going.
Yeah, it's a great choice for that. For me, I said I would actually cut the exchange between Ruby and Fred at the beginning, which they did in the remake. You don't have that exchange, and I do think it's better for it.
It is, because it makes it, like, hokey.
It does. Like, at the very beginning, you've got Ruby talking about how she wants to run away, and it causes these issues for her character, but I feel like we didn't need that.
You think you can make it in the city?
Exactly. But, like, later we cut to Ruby and she's basically chained up outside of her house and has a conversation about how she tried to escape. Like, we could have just had that scene.
Yeah, totally.
We didn't need it at the beginning. I would keep all of the actors who played the mutants in the original. Like, I agree I would change some of the costuming potentially, but I do think all of the actors were really good.
They're doing their damn best.
They're doing their best who played all the mutants. So they were all a 10 out of 10 for me. And redo, I would recast Ethel. I'm sorry, girl. I know you went through it on this production, but, like, I would recast her. To me, out of all of the actors, she is giving such, her performance kind of veers into caricature for me, where, like, all she talks about is, praying and making sure the boys are fed and all this stuff.
Definitely has the theater background.
Exactly. Yeah. It feels like a bit too big of a performance,
which is nice in the remake because the scene when she is like, is the baby okay?
Yeah.
It definitely had more weight.
Yeah, I feel like the actress who does it in the remake does a better job. Like, Ethel's performance is so sort of theatrical and almost so big that it makes her into kind of a caricature, even though what she's going through is not like that at all.
Even her playing dead kind of was a bit of a caricature. And that's little bit. Awful to say.
I want everybody to recognize that. You're so right. Like, you don't believe that she's dead.
Yeah.
You don't believe it. Because you're looking at her and you're like, girl, your eyes look real focused
but
right now.
Luckily, the scene still holds intensity because the other actors do pretty good in setting her up in the chair.
Yes. Absolutely. What about the remake? What would you cut, keep, and redo?
Cut, keep, redo in the remake.
Yeah.
I would cut down the runtime just a little bit. I still like its pacing's good, but it's still like the build up to like I know you said it gets into it, but I'm still like just get into it even more. Like just a bit more. Like you can do it. Like but like I guess like it's not too bad.
We do love a tight hour and a half runtime.
Yeah.
So. And this is about an hour 45, so
there's not too much I would redo because I think it's a pretty solid horror film. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like you're taken on a ride, you're introduced to these characters and like these situations that check off all the boxes for sure.
Yeah.
It is a checked off box. And honestly, I would keep the cast again because they do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, the guy that plays Bobby, you see him in like a couple movies from that time, then you like don't see him.
Right.
Like you don't really like see too many of these actors kind of like carry on. I'm trying.
Like the girl who played Brenda was on Lost.
Yeah. Okay.
That?
Yeah, I didn't watch Lost, so I'm sorry.
I watched the first couple seasons when it came out, but I didn't finish it.
What a good career! You get on a show, it becomes number one. You get paid, you go home.
When I was reading about the cast, I think she was also on that show Once Upon a Time.
Okay,
I didn't watch. They made it here like locally, but I didn't watch it. I think, she played like Belle or something, I think, from Beauty and the Beast.
Man,
I
just
think.
steady work.
Yeah,
Good
love that for you, Queen.
Yeah,
Get
hell
it.
yeah,
Working
yeah.
actor. Yeah, the kid who plays Bobby, I think the most recent thing I saw him in, because he pops up kind of randomly and stuff. He's in Mad Men in one episode.
Okay.
He was in Easy A.
Yep.
Yeah, Easy A, and like there's a few other like teen movies and stuff that he did. I think he's known now for more comedic stuff versus horror, but I have seen him occasionally pop up every couple years, and I'm like, oh, hey, see.
I should definitely, like, I'll save everyone the trouble and I'll do an IMDb search later.
Exactly. I'm sure he's got a great filmography.
But a lot of stuff I would keep too. Like, the movie is just, it's pretty solid. Like, like, fucking makeup, like, the special effects.
That's what makes this movie.
It is.
That's what makes this movie, realistically. If you're not a makeup dork, you might not like this movie. For me, what I would cut was what I referred to as the rapey breastfeeding scene. Just the breastfeeding. Like, the rest of the scene I get it, but like, oh, God, why? That feels very real. Like, you guys can't tell, but I'm literally grabbing one of my boobs in discomfort right now. Like, I feel like I can almost imagine what that's like. So it's very effective. I will give them that. It's incredibly effective, but it made me really uncomfortable. And I was like, this is so unnecessary. I don't like it. It's unnecessary. We already know these people are terrible. I would definitely keep the changes that they made to the script and that the characters are a bit more wholly realized than they are in the first one. Brenda and Bobby setting all the booby traps and like the fact that they feel a little more real to me, which I really liked.
Yeah.
And the only thing I would redo would be Big Bob's burning, as I put it, and that's just for me because I feel like the CG flames in that don't look good.
You're right. I agree with you 100% that there is more of an effectiveness in the original than there is in the remake. And I'm not sure if it's just the classic, like, he's, like, strapped down to a board and they kind of, like, exaggerated that scene more. Or, like, even though it is still exaggerated, like, not exaggerated, but it is still shown in the new one. But who knows?
Yeah, for me, as I say, I don't know. I think it was the CG for me because I do find that CG flames either look great or they look terrible. And in this, they didn't work for me and it just fully took me out of the movie for a few minutes.
Yes.
Because I was looking at it and I was like, that doesn't look like real fire. Like, that looks dumb. And, like, especially because the effects in the CG in the rest of this movie are so good, I was like, what happened with this one sequence? Like, this is the only thing where I would argue there's, like, that particular type of a mistake. And, yeah, it just fully took me out of it. Like, even when they cut later to the dummy of Bob's body that is actually on fire that they're putting out, I'm like, okay, that looks way better. That I buy.
Yeah.
So it's just like that one thing where I'm like,
yeah.
I don't love it.
Because the edit on that was pretty good too with the sound. Yeah.
Exactly. So I would just redo that one small thing. All right. So Jayme, before we end out our episode here, was it worth the bitch?
I think it was worth the bitch.
I also think it was worth the bitch.
I wasn't, I was like, I don't want to say skeptical is not the right word, but I was like, oh, I haven't seen this movie. Like, I've already seen it. And then you start it and then you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, this one is definitely worth the bitch. It's definitely a cannibal movie for its time. Like, it has to make top of the list. I would 100% recommend it.
Absolutely.
For all of our horror people out there. It definitely isn't, if you're, you know what? It depends what age you are. It depends how desensitized you are.
Yes.
Because it is a part of the intro horror package. When you start getting into things, it's your iceberg of, can I handle it?
I would say this is like second level intro horror.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like once you've sort of passed the bars of, like real intro horror, like Tim Burton and the stuff that you would potentially show like a younger teenager or like an older kid.
Bleakness.
When they're like getting into it. This is when you're like a couple years in and you're like, okay, I want to see something real. I want to get into it. This is a good place to start, I think, especially with the original.
Especially if you're in that segue of wanting, because I don't know, like I feel like especially when you're getting into horror movies, you do kind of go on this path of, I want to see the original, I want to see the remake, I want to see the original, I want to see the remake.
Yeah, I want to see everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think at least for myself, for a lot of us, you don't always grow out of that. I still want to see everything. I don't have as much time as I used to, but I still want to see everything.
No. Because you want to see how much has changed. Film history is still like, it's not that old.
No, so. I mean, film history is fascinating, especially because, I'm a huge geek. But it is really interesting. And especially, I feel like horror in particular is so self-referential. Like every person who's made a name for themselves as a horror writer, director, any of those things is because they are a horror fan.
Yeah, yeah.
They love the genre.
Yeah.
And so because of that, like you were saying, we don't rip off, we homage, but you get
Yes.
so many homages that will sometimes be so subtle that even if you're a huge horror fan, they'll go over your head until either you watch for a second time or maybe do some reading or something like that, and you're like, oh.
Which is funny because some modern horror movies, like that are being released these days, you can tell they love horror so much that it's almost a problem.
Yes.
Because you are quote unquote bottlenecking your favorites. So you can't reference absolutely everything.
Yeah, you gotta pick and choose your homages.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Please.
Please.
Thank you. And then you'll have a solid movie. This is the problem. Don't muddy your waters.
And also, like, save some for different movies.
Yes.
Spread them out over different
I
projects.
know you have the budget.
Right? And I know you have lots of ideas.
Yes, yes.
And, like, I think we're all kind of guilty of this, where, like, you get the opportunity and you're like, I'm gonna do all the things!
Of
and
course.
You're like, no, okay, dial it back just a little.
Of course. Because then, like, then we just don't want to get in this rut of just, like, because I love a good remake, I love a good original.
Yeah.
But we need more originals to make the remakes.
Exactly.
For our future generations. This is what we're leaving behind, you guys. So, yeah.
Right? And also, just one final note about remakes that I'm going to say. Instead of constantly remaking things that were successful, remake something that sucked.
Please.
That's always my thing, is like, why don't you take this movie that had so much potential but failed for whatever reason and make it better?
Like,
Make it good.
If the reason was lack of budget
Yeah.
or like technical things that could be solved with budget when it was bad because the story's bad and that stuff.
Like, that's
you
different.
don't have to do that.
No.
But we're talking about the just like second
or like
second
studio
life.
constraints where like a director can't actually tell the story the way they intended to, and the movie massively suffers for it.
Yes,
like,
because I know it's a smarter investment to take something that has actually existed and tweak it than it is to create something that
either is
may or may
or
not have a positive reception or sell, because it is still a business, unfortunately, for us.
But I would argue that if you look at some of the recent original horror properties that have come out, even in the last 10 years, because sort of mid-2010s there, we had a nice little like renaissance of horror.
Yes.
The original ones are the ones that have proven to last. They're the ones that have endured.
Yes.
And that's kind of always been the case.
It's great.
So, like,
it's pretty great.
Don't be afraid to do something original, guys.
Yes.
Okay. All right, friends. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. This was so much fun. We hope you liked it. And for next week, we're doing something that I like to call Wild Card Week! Woo! 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 Wild Card Week, which is where we have a movie that is still on theme, but is arguably not a typical choice, you might say. Bit of a palate cleanser, something a little bit fun. Because the last few movies, especially today, have been kind of rough, and they're probably only going to continue to be kind of rough. So for next week, we are going to be discussing Tim Burton's 2007 version of Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Johnny Depp, Helena Bonham Carter, everybody singing. Shit's about to get wild. I hope you guys are ready. Oh my god! This is going to be insane. Also,
we are active on one social media platform currently.
Instagram!
Yay, Instagram. What is our Instagram handle?
All right, so we are now active on Instagram under the handle Pitch and Bitch Pod. That is Pitch, P-I-T-C-H, the letter N, Bitch. I hope you know how to spell that. Pod, P-O-D, on Instagram. Soon we are very excited. We're going to be unveiling some brand new original artwork, which is so exciting. And we're going to be announcing all of our episodes and our themes and seasons and all that good stuff on Instagram. So definitely go there and give us a follow for more information and for updates. And probably just for some of our ridiculous antics, if I'm being honest.
Of course, do it. It'll be fun.
It'll be a great time. It's going to be really fun. So come join us over there and rate and review us on whatever streaming site you like to use, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever, because that gives us tons of help. It boosts us so much, and we would love and appreciate you endlessly if you would be willing to do so. And again, thank you so much for joining us. This has been so much fun. I'm Becca.
And for those, it's me, Jayme. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye, friends.
Bye.